Hey, everybody. Turkey is about to be eaten today. Stuffing is about to be ignored, and cranberry sauce is about to be thrown away. This is the Thanksgiving version of the morning laugh. Hey, everybody.
We're all here together.
I love it.
I figured that was just an easier way to do it. Just like, here we are, guys. Good morning.
I like it.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
Happy Thanksgiving, Chris.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Mike.
Happy Thanksgiving to you both, all
Thanks to you.
together.
Shaking hands. This, of course, is the day that we remember when comedians were arguing over who stole whose jokes, and then they sat down for food.
That's right. The original Pilgrim comedians sat down at a table and really had at it. It was crazy. But
a lot of people don't realize this is when the rubber chicken was invented for this.
Yeah.
Basically, what it was, one person was supposed to bring a turkey, and they brought a rubber chicken, and a couple other comedians brought rubber chickens, and a few brought pies. That's where pie throwing started too. Was because of the argument of the rubber chicken, and it's been tradition since in this country. So good time.
I like it. Yeah.
So,
in case you needed a history, this is it.
People do need the history. They need to know. It's people keep like, that's not really what happened, but let's tell the people what happened. So,
Right.
Chris, you're the youngest here. What are your things? Would you have a Thanksgiving tradition that you you do?
Yeah. Well, I like to watch Macy's Day Parade, the live one. I'm sure you guys prefer the references and the old shows from the 1960s reruns of the Macy's Day Parades, but I like to watch the ones that are around today. So
those modern balloons of the Pikachu and whatnot, whereas Mike and I enjoy the classics, the Snoopy, the Betty Boop,
Woody the Woodpecker.
Woody Woodpecker, right?
A mash balloon, maybe. I don't know.
A mash balloon, yes. The Klinger.
Yeah.
Which,
the inflatable Klinger.
One year it snapped off and flew toward Toledo, and it was chaos, to say the least.
It's nose deflated.
Yeah. I like that. And what do you guys like to do?
Mike, you remember though, those balloons were full of mercury.
Yeah.
They weren't. They didn't have helium back then. It was just some contraption of science brought together. Poison the city.
As a child, I definitely remember watching the Macy's Day Parade, having a football game on all day, and we had a great meal. All the women were doing something in the kitchen. I don't know what they were doing, but anyway, we had a great meal, and then we went back to watching TV, and of course, the women continued doing whatever they do in the kitchen. I don't know what it is.
Wow,
it's a mystery.
Yeah.
We'll never know, Mike.
Very different.
But they're always around mealtime. They show up.
Yeah, they're always hiding out in the kitchen. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the food's delivered or whatever,
and
then
they always want to
it.
know how the food is. They're like a little too interested in how we think the food is.
Yeah.
Kind of strange.
Interesting. My fondest memory of is Macy's Parade. Of course, for me, it was always waiting to see the Snoopy float. That was really the main thing for me.
Yep.
And then my mother at one point would say, "Hey, Brian, I need you." And then I would go in and I would open the can of cranberry and I did my work, guys.
So, Chris, you said in the intro, you said stuffing will be ignored. Stuffing is one of my favorite parts.
It's mine too, but I noticed that people don't like it. I've been to dinner with many of people.
Now, something I do dislike greatly is the looking so forward to the stuffing, and then you get there and somebody says, "Oh yeah, we made this new kind that's got walnuts and twigs in it," and it's like,
there's yogurt in it. There's yogurt and almonds. Why?
Yeah, that's not stuffing.
Usually, I'm a gluten-free guy, but not with stuffing. So if anybody was ever like, "This is a gluten-free stuffing," I'd be like, "No way."
That's where I think that's what's happening, Chris, with your generation is everyone's going paleo and they don't want, they're like, I'll eat all the turkey I can, but I'm not going to eat the stuffing because that's all carbs. Can't do it.
Probably.
We're like, what
Now,
about
do
some
you-
mashed potatoes? No. I brought these sweet potatoes, and I put
These are impossible potatoes. They're made of vegetables. You mean
Yeah.
potatoes?
Impossible potatoes. I know. I don't know why we do what we do. But here's my question to you guys: are you cranberry people? Do you like the cranberry sauce?
I
do
love.
not.
So here's the deal. Like I just mentioned, I did the can when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
my in-laws, they're crazy people, so they do everything fresh. So we get like fresh cranberry, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's super sweet. I enjoy the cranberry.
Really?
You know what you do is when you for leftovers, you put cranberry in the sandwich. So if you
Yeah.
don't eat it for the actual meal, you can eat it for the sandwich.
Yeah,
and
my
leftovers.
dad used to ruin sandwiches that way too. That's not a thing to do.
My family likes it. I'm the only one that doesn't. But to be fair, I don't think I've really tried it. I don't like cran anything.
It's not got a good flavor. Well, Brian, you said you had it sweet. I've never tasted.
It's a little
sweet
tart.
cranberries.
It's a little tart and bitter.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
tart and bitter to me. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I like it.
That's not a good flavor.
I like it.
Oh, that's fair. That's
I
fair.
like
I do not. My favorite. I like getting a big plate of turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and then covering the whole plate in gravy. Everything.
Yes, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Love the gravy. Oh, it's so good.
Gravy. Why does gravy get out of control so quickly? Even though sometimes in the mashed potato you try to set up a little cup,
The
and
little volcano.
it overflows. Yeah,
Gravy goes, I want to go everywhere. That's gravy.
pumpkin pie, gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you guys fans of pumpkin pie?
huge fan. I love the pumpkin pie.
Oh, I
Huge
love it.
fan.
Just got to have whipped cream on it though. You can't just have that pumpkin
Oh, yeah.
pie.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
and I
true.
go overboard on I probably put as much whipped cream as pumpkin pie.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys have on TV during Thanksgiving? Anything?
Well, at my home, if we do it here, which we don't usually, we go to my daughter's house now. But I always, anytime people came over, the TV goes off. I know, like Thanksgiving, and there are certain days where people come over and you have the TV, especially like a football game or something going on. But I would just think that's the rudest thing is to invite people over and have the TV on. I always make sure it's off.
Well, so no football, huh? Ever or
But not if people are over, I wouldn't have TV on.
okay.
Yeah.
Typically, a football game's on in the background, but like that's my in-laws. My family, we used to do, we always loved traditional movies, so it was either Enter the Dragon or Jackie Chan's Rumble in the Bronx.
The traditional Thanksgiving movies.
Traditional things, So
Well, I actually prefer to have the TV on, watch something like Titanic, and then just ignore everybody. That's usually my plan. And when people walk in, I'm like, shh, I'm watching. And
The TV's on. Shut up.
I think the real tradition for most people is to turn the TV on and root against Dallas. So
yeah.
Come on, who are they playing? Come on, red team.
Speaking of, do any of your wives watch this show about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders?
No.
Because no.
Was there a documentary or something?
Oh, dude, it's a hit show. It's on like season 13, and it's about like these Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and how they make the cut and how they don't make the cut and all this stuff. It starts off with like 200 cheerleaders. Well, like I just assume maybe your guys' wives watch it, but we're not football people. I know, I'm sorry, but it's the first time we were watching a game for a second, and then it was the Dallas Cowboys, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Macy made it. I wonder, I became a woman all of a sudden. I'm not even watching the players. I'm trying to find the cheerleaders. I'm like, I
Go
wonder
back
if they
on the
made it.
replay. Do you see right there? There she is.
Over?
She did
She
it.
did it.
Good for her. She's making $13 for the whole season. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
accurate.
have not seen that. I was not aware that they had a TV
I
show.
wasn't aware of
Oh
that.
yeah.
I did start watching the new Tiger King documentary though. There's a whole new one.
The new one, yeah. I haven't
I've heard it was
jumped on
crazy.
that.
see it.
The first 2 episodes, which is all I've seen, I can tell you are a waste of time.
Okay. Like
They
in the
don't-
same way a waste of time the original one was? Or like
Well,
just
yeah,
more-
yeah. Well, no, the original one was a entertaining waste of time. The first 2 episodes, the first one, neither one of them have anything to do with the story that we've seen.
Oh,
One is completely about the pandemic and what was going on, and now he's in jail and trying to get a pardon, but nothing really about it. Just stuff you've read in the paper or whatever.
see, that's
They tried, and then the second one is all about what's her name's dead husband.
Carol Baskins. Yeah.
But it's purely about it. Has nothing to do with
That shows at
what's
its
going on.
that shows at its best when Joe is drunk and he's firing a gun and he's singing a song.
Yes.
I think we all can agree on that.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what Thanksgiving means to me.
Well,
yeah.
I did watch Rocky IV finally, Brian. The director's cut of Rocky IV.
Well,
Brian will give me his passcode.
welcome
I will-
to my world, Mike.
I will
Okay.
tell you, I did not. So you went back and watched the original, then watched
did.
the documentary, then watched the director's cut, then the documentary, then the director's cut again. I only watched the director's cut. That was it. So it stood on its own. I mean, I haven't watched the original since it came out, I think. So it's been many, many years. I do remember certain things about that weren't in this one, but overall, it was a good story. It stands on its own the way it is. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
I don't recall the original one being so bad, but that they had to redo it. But
We don't have enough time for me to go into
Yeah.
it. But I enjoyed it. They took out the stuff that needed to come out.
Yeah.
Paul
The robot.
robot.
the Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned that they didn't leave enough of Rocky's kid in. They cut out some of Rocky's son stuff. But,
They didn't have much of him in at all.
No.
Well,
no, they
and it
took
was
out a
weird
lot from the
too.
original.
It was weird too because in the director's edition, all of a sudden Rambo was in there. It's like I think he just felt like, you got to have Rocky and Rambo.
Yeah.
They do like this gunfight. It was weird. It's kind of weird.
well,
he
it started-
had that headband thing on and carried a big knife through a lot of the movie. I don't know why.
Problem
Yeah.
is, and you guys all know, not spoiler alert, it was a misunderstanding between the two of them. Rambo was trying to call home. He dialed the wrong number. He's like, Balboa's like, who's this? You imitating me? Don't make fun of me. You making fun of me? And then it escalated. And but the fact that they shook hands and went on their own ways afterwards,
Yeah, that's good.
that was like
That really.
that's
is what
where
I'm
the
thankful
first.
for this
I don't know if you guys know this, but that's where the first actually, it's because it happens midway in the movie with the Rambo stuff. That's where if I could change, you could change. We can all change, right?
Yeah.
Of which Rambo's like, yeah. And then they realized no one else was around them. It was only to the two of them. That's why Rocky felt he could say it later
yeah.
when he
Gotcha.
beats
I think
Ivan.
it was interesting that back in what year was this movie?
85.
85. So back in 85, he said, I just want to say that I'm a guy that just came out here. I didn't know what to expect. If I can change, you can change. And just don't mess with our elections. I thought that was foretelling.
That was a part of the director's edition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They updated little things.
They
you know,
updated a
so,
few things. Yeah.
I like I will say I was shocked that they had the Biden asleep shot during the fight. But I look past it. Anyway, here's the deal. So 2 weeks ago, Rocky IV, the director's cut, comes out.
Yeah.
Okay. Last week on Friday, Ghostbusters Afterlife comes out. And I'm thinking, wow, let's just party like it's the early 80s again,
Yeah.
So I was hoping this week maybe Lethal Weapon 5 was coming out, but apparently that's in production. So anyway, what's the guy to do?
Did you see Ghostbusters?
I did see Ghostbusters Afterlife. I was never like I like Ghostbusters, but I was never a huge Uber fan. I don't dress up like it. Like I have friends who have dressed up to go to the theater. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It's kind of in the same feel of the originals and that little rehash of the original again, but it was good. It was good.
Good.
Well,
Good.
I'm not going to say it was the greatest film I've ever seen in my life because, again, I've seen Rocky IV. But it was good.
Well, I just recently saw the new 007 movie. We're talking about movies made a long time ago with this one was so good.
It's great.
I loved it. It was fantastic.
I think it's my favorite Bond film of all time.
Really?
And prior to that, it would have been The Spy Who Loved Me. So.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously, I've mentioned this on the show before, but my wife and I started watching 007 for the first time in quarantine, and I got hooked. And so right now I'm watching the 90s Pierce Bronson's ones, and
Okay.
they're good. There's so many. The people in the '90s were perverts. Okay, that's the only thing I've noticed about the movies. It's like everything is just dirty. I'm like, okay, whatever. You don't see it in the newer ones.
I think I'm going to agree with you and say in the '90s people were more outright in their pervosities. I don't know what the word for that is, but in the '80s it was like a secret thing. It was done. I mean, they just glorified the women and probably zoomed in more than they needed to at times. Whereas, then in the '90s you could talk about it. Although Timothy Dalton, that's a tough Bond because AIDS was a big thing, so they didn't want Bond sleeping with anybody.
Oh, okay.
True.
I haven't made it back yet. I'm only in the '90s, and then I'm going to keep going back.
Timothy Dalton, I think, is only 2 films, so don't.
The Spy Who Loved Me was always just the quintessential best Bond movie ever. It was so good. Just there was something about, to me, that movie captured all the flavor and everything that was 007 to me. So I compare everything to that sensibility of watching it that way. So I'm glad to hear you say this is the best one since then.
Spy Who Loves Me. You're right, Mike, because there's like lots of world travel, lots of amazing gadgets. That submarine Lotus is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Barbara Bach.
Yeah.
Is the greatest thing ever. Ringo Starr. How did he actually
I don't know.
seal that deal? I have no idea. And probably Roger Moore is probably at his peak. Underwater layers and big ships. You got everything. You got everything, Chris. I'm excited for you to go back and watch those.
Yeah. Oh, I'll watch it. I thoroughly enjoy Bond.
My Bond was Roger Moore. I mean, that was the Bond I saw mostly when they came out. That was during my era. So when I went back and watched the Sean Connery ones later, they were good, but they just weren't as good as the Roger Moore. The Roger Moore ones,
they're different.
So much action, and it was so thrilling and everything. So yeah. Although I did like Pierce Brosnan too. That was good.
Yeah.
Well, this is how I feel so far because I started off with the new one. Oh, hold on. I don't know who that is. Let me hit a wonderful decline. Okay. Are we still here? Okay.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. It's probably people saying Happy Thanksgiving or something. Who cares what I was going to say? The point is,
who's calling you at 6 a.m., Chris?
Happy Turkey. I get calls all the time.
George Lazenby.
Yeah. Yes. Who only did one Bond movie or something, I think.
That's an interesting Bond movie, though.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I know that his agent said
pivotal Bond movie.
Did you know his agent said there's no way that they're going to make more Bond movies? They're dying out. So the agent recommended only do one movie. So that's the whole reason that guy is only in one movie. He could have been like a good Bond, but nope, that's it.
He didn't say good Bond. He said goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm Leonard Maltin, and these are the movies.
Oh my goodness! All right. Well, what else should we talk about? We only got like a couple more minutes before.
Well,
we're gonna.
We've talked about Thanksgiving. We talked about everything that's currently out. I don't know. Is there anything coming out this week for Thanksgiving? Usually they have something that comes out.
Yeah, our tree.
Your
We're gonna
tree?
start putting all the Christmas stuff out this weekend.
Okay.
We usually do. Do you guys?
Let me ask you guys this. So I know Thanksgiving, and I don't want to rush things, but what is your one quintessential Christmas movie that you watch every year?
Me in particular? Sorry.
I mean, so you think this is the traditional movie I would watch every year for Thanksgiving?
Well, I'm the only one in the household that likes this movie, but I love Miracle on 34th Street.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, I like it.
Great
Christmas
movie.
Yeah, it's
the original one.
From Thanksgiving into Christmas.
I thought for sure you would have said Elf, but
okay. Are you watching the original one though? You're watching the
No, I usually watch both. I like last year I watched the original one. The year before I watched the 90s version.
There's a new, I didn't know there was a new one.
A fairly new one. It was like the 90s, early 2000s.
Who was in the 90s one?
Do you remember the little girl who was in Mrs. Doubtfire?
And Matilda.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said,
"Oh, that sounds familiar now." Apologize. Yeah, I think I did see that one once.
That was perfect. That was like a
practice.
perfect.
We
I
have
practice that in the house all the time.
I didn't
we
know
have
you
a
could
few
do kid
movies. our big thing every year was to watch a movie together, and every year we'd switch it up when the kids were growing up, and we'd cycle between A Christmas Story,
Mm-hmm.
Family Christmas Vacation,
Mm-hmm. is a good
and Fiddler on the Roof. Now, everybody else said, that's not a Christmas movie, Dad. And I said, yes, it is. It has snow. So,
Yeah. It's just like Sound of Music is an Easter movie now.
yeah.
I don't get that. But here's the thing. So I'm
Those are a few of my favorite things.
I love Christmas Story, and usually I am forced to watch that in the marathon while my wife wraps gifts. So I usually get 2 or 3 viewings of that. But Elf is one I always look forward to. But for me, I love the old stop frame animation films.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and The Year Without a Santa Claus are my 2 favorite, because I love the Heat Miser and I love my Freeze Miser.
I'm Mr. Heat Miser. I like that one too.
Mr. Sun.
Yeah,
I like all of those. Those are fun.
I literally thought they were always talking about Arizona with Heat Miser. Like, I got it. I understood now why we didn't get snow.
I watched Home Alone the other night with my grandkids.
Another Christmas
How old are
movie.
you?
Die Hard. Die Hard is a Christmas
yeah,
movie. I watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Technically, Lethal Weapon, the first Lethal Weapon, is a Christmas movie too.
Okay, there's about 3 things I have to address here in 2 seconds, but including one that Die Hard's a terrible movie. So, but the other thing, I know, I don't care. I don't care what you think.
I think we're losing your signal there, Chris. Anyways, Die Hard is one of the great.
You know, there's a switch on your phone to make that silent.
Phone it was.
I don't know how to do any of that. I don't know technology. I just was born into it. All right.
So, what are the 3 things you have to say?
Okay. First off, yeah, Elf is like the best movie ever. Secondly, A Christmas Story is like decent. Thirdly, Die Hard is cheesy, and I can't stand it. And I think the villains are terrible, and it doesn't feel like Christmas. And the only way that this movie, the only time that this movie shimmers is when you see Bruce Willis's bald head. Okay, it's the only time. I can't. No.
See this? My kids got me this for Christmas last year. You know why? It's John McClane.
Run my favorite glass.
She says 11. Shoot the glass.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
All I can say to you, Chris, is yippee-ki-yay, my friend.
All right, let me break down something here for you real quick, Chris.
Okay.
Chris, are you a fan of the Iron Man?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing Letterman. Are you fans of the Letter? Anyway, so first off, you said A Christmas Story. You don't get it. You don't like it. Peter Billingsley later went on to become he's in Iron Man. He's a scientist guy. They gave him a bald cap, and he later went on to be producing partners with Jon Favreau, director of Elf. Correct. It's all connected. It's the Illuminati. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And you're the one all like giving some pushback on like, I like one, I don't like the other.
You want me to accept? Am I supposed to accept the Illuminati, Brian?
No, but you're supposed to accept the fact that Die Hard is a legit film.
This is the mic.
Legit.
Please tell us where you
Chris,
feel.
Did you like Space Quest, Chris?
Never saw it. I don't know Space Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
Or Galaxy Quest, sorry. You never watched Galaxy?
Yeah, with Tim Allen?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah,
quite honestly, one of the most perfect films ever made.
It is
a perfect film.
Yeah. Okay.
I can say what I want now. I'm a legit professor in a film program.
That's good.
Somebody's paying me.
Well, I do think the problem arises though when you're told something is a massive classic by somebody else, then you go to watch it and you're like, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, here's part of the deal is this, and Mike, back me up on this. Mike, you grew up in the 80s. You remember how it was when terrorists used to take over large buildings all the time. Yeah. This movie spoke to how things were, and you weren't there. You weren't there, Chris.
That's why you don't get it, because you've never been in a large skyscraper at Christmas when terrorists took it over.
That's especially true. A Japanese super building that was created post World War II in a country that was still not sure of the Japanese at the time, but yet they were trying to make it do. And along comes some German, English speaking, and by English I mean accented Germans, and they came in with detonators. They lose the detonators. You don't lose your detonators. That's
So
rule number one.
They were English accented Germans.
Yes.
Yes, they were.
No, I don't know what that phrase means. But
It means that they played Germans, but their accent was that of British people.
But if they were
me
English,
those
I
detonators.
see.
Yeah, see,
Mr. McLean.
and see, that's how it was in the 80s, Chris. All the German people spoke with English accents.
British accent.
Yeah, because most of the
Um,
Germans, they left and they got educated at elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and then they went back to Germany, and then their accents were all messed up. And then that's what made them angry. That's what made them upset. They're like, I have no native voice anymore. I don't know where to go. I'll go to America. I'll take over a building
Gotcha.
for basically some stocks and bonds.
Okay. All right. I guess you guys have convinced me now. You're right. This is a great movie. No, it's not.
Mhm.
If you're watching the show, feel free to put in the comments that you agree with me, or if you'd like,
Or
to
that you disagree with him. Now,
Yeah.
this just to be clear, we're talking about, you know what, go ahead and put in your comments on ranking Fiddler on the Roof, because I love that movie.
Okay.
And Christmas
Elf.
Story, Elf, and Nightmare on 34th Street.
The one where
Die Hard into this.
the one where
list.
Jack
Or Die Hard,
Skellington
that's what I
steals
meant.
all the turkeys.
People don't, a lot of people don't realize this, but that building was on 34th Street in Die Hard.
Yeah.
True. Well,
Yeah.
my
Give
son.
me those reindeer,
Oh.
Mr. Claus.
Does anybody else need to get some casseroles going and turkeys going?
Turkey basted.
I got my can
think I
openers
do.
ready to go. Got my can opener in a moment's notice if anybody needs any cranberry open. I'm there. What? Wait, you don't have cranberries? Wait, you've got some half and half you need open? I'm your guy.
I'm your guy. Brian's your guy. If you need
I
it.
will say that I the other day I had to open a can with a can opener, and I cannot believe we still have this technology existing in our world today. That flawed technology of cranking a can opener around a can, only to toward the end skip over a hunk of metal, and there's no way to get it. So you have to like jam your fingers through to get a metal cut on your finger as you bend the. Why is this still a thing? How does this still exist?
We have 3 can openers in our house. 2 of them are fancy new ones, and the third one is the oldest looking thing full of rust. Which one
Yes.
works? The rusty one.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. The new
Old
one's
rusty.
don't work. I've had this oldest one for like ever, and it just broke, and I've had it for like 5-6 years. So
let me tell you real quick, because I believe this is important, that I believe it's on Facebook somewhere, maybe it's on my Instagram, but I like eating tuna, like to stay fit. Doesn't work, but anyways, I try. Anyways, so one day I'm opening, right? Whoop, slips. Tuna can slips, falls in the sink, right? Tuna cans are the exact same size of the sink hole.
Yep.
Like
I've
you
had that
literally have
happen,
to go
that
get a pair of
exact thing.
pliers to get it out. And who does this all the time? Me. Have I learned my lesson? No. I have pliers next to me anytime I make tuna.
I've had that exact thing happen to me. The tuna can is the exact, and it's the same height too. It sits in there just so you cannot grab the edge. It's stuck.
It's level. You might as well just give up, turn on the water, and wash your dishes in tuna water.
Yeah, you have to sell your house.
Your
at that
life's
point.
over.
There's no way to get that out.
Give me the tuna can, mister.
I have never experienced
Hello.
this in my life.
I want you to go. I want you after the show. I want you to go this morning into your kitchen, take a tuna can and drop it into the drain hole, and it'll sit there safely. But
Chris,
you will never get it out
Just out of
again.
reach.
That's right. Chris, don't get cocky and go.
We
Oh, no.
we are now down to making most of our meals in the bathroom because we cannot get our sink.
Yeah. We're on Mike. We're on our third sink.
Yeah. That's how it
Gotta
works.
redo the kitchen all over again.
Good to know. Good to know.
Mayhem.
Oh, good.
So, you guys, we have to wrap this show up real quickly, and it's an abbreviated version of the show. But I have got to go watch the parade. I've got to find out what the girls do in the kitchen because I've never seen it happen.
Well, they're
And
going
I've
to tell
got
you to get
watch
out, Mike.
TV.
They're
What?
going to yell at you to get out.
No, that's true. I won't go in there.
Get out of the kitchen.
I will watch TV.
You're not helping. Like, who wants to be in there? It's hot anyways. I don't know why it's hot in
Yeah.
there. So many people. So
Awesome. Well, happy Thanksgiving, you guys, and happy Thanksgiving to
You too,
everybody
Chris.
that watches our show.
Mike,
We are
everyone.
almost coming up to our first full year of this podcast.
Oh, but there's so
Yeah.
much more to come.
There is.
The Christmas episode with I don't want to spoil the dancing, but anyways, it's going to be a spectacular.
And you guys are going to want to tune in next week for a very special episode where Josh has some big decisions to make.
Yep.
Let's leave it at that.
All this and more
Coming up.
as year one comes to a violent end.
Thanks for watching The Morning
Bye,
Live.
guys. Good morning. Happy
Good morning.
Thanksgiving.